This is a review of the Skmei, which is how you pronounce it, digital watch that is marketed on Amazon as a Pasoi men's digital gold stainless steel watch, backlit, malfunction stopwatch, $18.99. There it is. This is the real thing. I'm just going to be talking about it, and let me give you some general impressions. There kind of has been a perception that Skmei is second to Casio, and I think there was probably a time that was true, but it's not true now. There are some definite pluses to the Skmei that I think make it a very nice watch, certainly competitive now at this point, in my opinion, with Casio. And so I'm going to go over what some of those characteristics are and how to work this watch. There is a total lack of understanding in the marketplace of a couple. One of them is how to adjust the length of the band, and I'm going to say that you must use a screwdriver, which they include with the watch, and I'll show you. And if you don't do it that way, you're not going to get that open with your fingernail. I'll guarantee you that. But let's just take a look at the overall quality. Now, these look like they're solid links, but actually, if you do a close-up, you can see that they are bent over, but they're actually bent over in a really, really nice way, and I would say are kind of superior to the bent over link on the Casio, which you can definitely see as a bent over unit with a central part for taking links out. You don't have to take links out with this one. I will mention that this type of clasp is my favorite because it provides flexibility around the wrist where these do not. That section here, from here to here, does not bend or shape to your hand at all and requires that it be fit, very carefully removing links to get it to lay comfortably on the hand. But anyhow, I'm going to go into adjusting that here. But first, let's just look at general impressions. Very, very nice metal work. Now, this case, okay, on the Casios, they're plastic, a resin. This is not resin. It is a zinc alloy, and it is coated with kind of a gold electroplating, but it really does look very, very nice. I'm not against resin, but I'm just saying personally I'd take the metal. The quality of the finish is very, very nice, and if you take a look at the clarity of this readout, it is quite nice. Now, just for fun, let's compare it with a Casio, okay? And everything looks backward or upside down because I'm using well, in this case, I'm shooting forward, but I've been shooting a lot facing me too. But you can see that is certainly readable on the Casio, no question about it. But there is no question that this one is very, very readable too. Now, while they look somewhat similar, you know, look at that clarity though. That is very, very nice. Up there you have the day is up here. Then over there you have the date to the right. And we have the time here is 17:26, but it's on military time, and I certainly don't want to do that. I'll have to press that and change it. But if you take a look at lighting, now this is interesting. Let me light the Casio for you. And I'm going to go into an area where it's a little darker to do this. Okay, you ready? See the background lights showing the digits in reverse. It's readable, okay, but take a look at what Skmei offers in this same thing. Okay. The numbers themselves light up. It's not the background that lights, it's the numbers. And so at night, the Skmei and that is the way you say this, is superior. So that's something that I think is really a lot better. Now, so we've looked at the general look. Now, if you take and you say, well, what is the Skmei going to look like a lot of the time? Well, a lot of the time you're going to see the brightness of that gold facing, okay? But it's kind of a mirror, so it will reflect other colors around it. Like this, a black t-shirt, now it looks black, okay? And now you see kind of the gold, all right? And, but this is what it looks like. And how does it lay on the hand? Well, I'll show you that again at the end, but let's go over right now how you adjust the bracelet, because man, this is important to do, and you do want to do it correctly. So here we go. And what I'm going to do is show you a little trick. We're going to pop this thing open. But before we do that, I'm going to take some tape, and I'm going to just tape the edge of where this is going to go. Because once you get this thing open, you're going to have no idea where it's really supposed to go. So I use a piece of guiding tape just to show me where I'm started. Okay, the methodology to get this open, you cannot do it with your fingertip. You have to take a screwdriver, put it into here, and really open that up hard. Okay, it's a compression unit that requires great pressure down to lock it onto it. So to close it up, it's just the opposite. You go to the desired position. You put the screwdriver in. And I'm trying to give you as good an angle on this as I can. So I know I want to go to here. Okay, see how it slides? That's where the tape comes in. Then I come in here in the position I want it to be and push, and that snaps it. You will not do that with your fingertip, I'll guarantee you. So this is how this is adjusted. Now, some people have said that there's a problem with, gee, why is it not focusing? That's a good question. Let me see, let me back up a little bit. There we go. Some people have said that the clasp doesn't really close correctly. That's not true. That's, again, a lack of understanding of how this unit works. Let me show you how to properly do the clasp, okay? Now, all right. Now, what you have to do, all right, we take this part here, that loopy part, see? That goes over the rod here. That rod, right there, that rod. So this goes over the rod. And it must be seated properly on the rod and pulled down a little bit. Then, see? Then you can just take and snap it. But a lot of times this will be out of position and somebody won't have it on there, and therefore it will not lock. I'm going to go ahead and put the watch on and show you again what it looks like on the wrist. So what I'm saying to you is, if you read a review and somebody says, you know, my clasp doesn't lock properly, it's because they didn't have that seated on there. Now you can tell if it's seated properly because this part here will be flush to that. But this is the overall look of the watch. I'll wipe it off here because it is shiny and, you know, it shows fingerprints, of course. We'll kind of go over here and show you. But it's a very, very nice looking watch. And I would say, you know, I bought this because I'm a Casio guy. I mean, I have Casio watches, and I love them, like, you know, something like these. I have a lot of this type of watch too. But what I'm saying is I wanted to know, is Skmei as good? Would I be happy with it? And what I found is I love them. I think it's an absolutely wonderful watch, and I'm as confident buying a Skmei as I would be Casio. And of course, both of them just provide absolutely phenomenal value. That digital display is very easy to see and lovely. And the watch too is very, very nice. So, you know, I guess what I'm saying is I kind of had the idea of doing this video, you know, where I was going to do, is a Skmei good enough? Because I went into it with the predisposition that they weren't as good as Casio. But I've kind of concluded, now that I own it, that it's an absolutely phenomenal value. And it's so thin, it's very, very thin as it lays on the wrist. And you might say, well, could you show me the underside of the watch just so I can see what that looks like? Okay. But so I guess the point of my video is you're not going to see a lot of reviews of low-end, you know, inexpensive watches like Skmei, because companies don't give them away. That, you know, they're so inexpensive to purchase, but it really is a fine product. And I think this is probably one of the best times in history to enjoy watches, because for just a little bit of money, and I can look at, you know, Amazon again, 18 bucks. You know, and you can get them for less than that if you want to go on to something like, you know, AliExpress in Asia. But they're just they're a great value, and I'd say yes, they are good enough. And in my opinion, I think they're about as good a watch as a Casio right now. Now, what they were 5 years ago, I don't know, you know, but my own personal watch philosophy in terms of what I'm doing with it, I work the low end. I don't want to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I'm interested in what can I get for $5, $10, $15, $20, $25, $30, $35, $40, under $50. What can I find? What kind of watches? And I'm fascinated with shape in watches and color, so I choose them on that basis. But almost everything that I go for is quartz movement. But did you know that the most basic quartz movement and digital are going to be more accurate than a Rolex in terms of their, you know, accuracy of time? Isn't that hilarious? That the very inexpensive, you know, quartz watches like this will outperform something like a Rolex. Well, sure. So, and you don't have to wind it. You don't have to do the automatic watch where you twist your wrist and stuff. They'll run 2-3 years to replace the battery. So I think that, you know, quartz movement has kind of been the big equalizer in the watch world. And so inexpensive watches, you're going to be looking at quartz movements, but they're super accurate. They're easy. You don't have to shake your wrist. And they don't require service. You know, if you owned a Rolex and you took it in for service, that's $1,000. So, but I guess what I'm saying is that, you know, Amazon's a great place to buy. eBay can be a good place to buy. I have a little bit more confidence in Amazon that it would be a genuine article. And then, of course, AliExpress. If you're willing to wait, you're going to pay less, but you're going to wait about 3 to 4 weeks. But their service is very good. If you have a problem, they'll credit you right away. I've ordered some watches there, and they just didn't ship quickly. They'd wait 10 days, and they didn't ship. And I just wrote AliExpress, boom, immediately I get my money back, and the seller apologizes and say, you know, due to COVID, you know, we haven't been, you know, why are they posting the watch if they don't have it available to ship? I don't know. But anyhow, that's the story on Skmei. Here's the box it comes in. Okay, and what is that number on this box? Let me surround so you can see exactly what that number is. X00147JDZH. It is identified again as a Pasoy. Now, what that name means, I don't know, because the name is Skmei is the name of the company. And there's that watch. It is made in other colors. It comes in black, it comes in blue, it comes in rose gold. This is the standard gold. Well, anyhow, I hope that you have found this Skmei review of interest. I'm 100% satisfied with my purchase of the Skmei watch, and I would buy another one without any hesitation at all and enjoy it, because it fulfills my criteria of a great watch, comfy on the arm, light. And I will mention, less expensive watches, they tend to be a lot lighter. Even the bands are lighter. They're thinner, and actually less expensive, I think, is better. You know, some of the other honker, very, very heavy bands, I'm just not into them. And for a low-cost Skmei or Casio, you get a nice thing. But again, look at this and how this one will bend and twist down here. Again, where unfortunately, when you take a look at the clip type, look what happens. You have an area here that will not bend. And that has to be in the exact correct position on your wrist for the watch to lay comfortably, or you end up with this thing poking out like this. You know, you'll put it on and then it kind of pokes to the side one way or the other. I'm not really a big fan of the clip, but I'm a much more of a fan of this. But again, you will have to use a screwdriver. Don't be messing around that with your finger nail. You know, you're not going to get it open, and you're going to hurt you're going to rip up your finger. They have to be done. And I was kind of surprised how much torque I had to put on this. I was hesitant to really, you know, give it the force it needed. It relies on force to stay in position. So it is hard to move, but it's a very effective clasp system. If you're finding it doesn't close completely, you don't have that hook locked over the rod properly. Okay? Anyway, I hope you come back for another look at another inexpensive watch.